Hi entrepreneurs, and welcome to another Starting a Business e-learning video class. This is Tony Brancatella, and as the course goes forward we find ourselves in the mix, the marketing mix. We have done product and price, and today we will look at place. In place there is 4 segments: channel, inventory, logistics, and distributions. But for this course we will look specifically at channel and distribution. So what is place? Place defined. It's a process of moving products from the producer to the intended user through facilitators such as retailers. So place. The right place can increase sales and a greater share of the market. It also can connect location of your business to target markets. And it can also create ambiance to a place where it'll be very familiar and comfortable for your customers to come over and over again. Let's look now at specifically the types of distribution channels. There are 4 types. The first one is direct. The second one is indirect. Third would be dual. And fourth would be reverse. So if you look at the direct distribution channel, it's from the producer directly to the consumer. This is seen through websites mostly. This is the newer method, of course, it still is a newer method of doing business and channeling your business. And this one has become a marketplace in itself. Another direct channel would be hotels. The next one would be indirect channel, where the producer, then there is facilitators or middlemen. Wholesalers, retailers are 2 examples, and then it goes to the consumers. So indirect distribution channels, one would be a retailer such as IKEA, and then there would be wholesalers, and there is someone in between right now. It's been around for quite a while actually, is Costco wholesale, which can be considered to be a bit of both. So the third one would be dual channels. Now dual channels is when a company has more than one channel that they could work on, such as pharmaceutical companies. They use direct and they also use indirect channels to sell their drugs. And Xerox would be another example where they would use direct, retail, distributors, almost all the possible different types of channels. Another one you can look at is Apple. Apple used to be pretty much direct, but right now you have stores, and you can also buy Apple products in other stores besides Apple stores. The fourth one and relatively newer channel is called the reverse channel, and this is more not a traditional channel, which allows the consumers to send the product to the producer. So this is reverse flow of what distinguishes this method from others. An example would be recycling old computers. So let's look now at the importance of distribution channels. And as we might think that we would save a lot of money in costs if we sell directly to the consumers from the manufacturer, there is a lot of costs involved that does not make this possible, including competition, the market itself, logistics, inventory, and so on. This is why the success of a company like Amazon comes into play, where they can reach a wider audience with wider distribution of products. They do have the facility to do this. So it would not really make sense for a lot of companies to set up their own distribution operation. As we see here, Amazon has many of these plants set up. So there is middlemen. There's the use of middlemen such as wholesalers. Now, a wholesaler is a business unit which buys and resells merchandise to retailers. So they play, again, in between production or producers and consumers. So what are the functions of wholesaling? Well, in wholesaling, they have to anticipate needs. They forecast consumers' demands and what they have to buy, what they will want to buy. They also have to regroup goods. Wholesaler provides the assortment wanted by its customers, which are mostly retailers, at the lowest possible price. They also have to carry a lot of stock. So they carry a lot of inventory. That is a lot of cash flow and a lot of money that is held in inventory. They also deliver. Wholesalers have transportation facilities and can provide fast delivery a lot better than a producer would. They also grant credit. Wholesalers also extend credit to many customers, sometimes for 120 days and beyond. So let's look now at retailers. Retailers are merchants whose main business is selling directly to the consumer. So there's quite a few of retailers that we know. Let's know a little bit of history about retailers. Retailers established more than 100 years ago in certain forms such as small general stores and specialty stores. They also came along with department stores, and a little trivia for you. Department stores were first established here in North America in the 1860s, and about a decade after they started in Europe. So retailers will hold several brands and products, and a consumer will always be expected to be exposed to many of these products and find the best deal. They also give them a choice, and of course retailers sell directly to the consumer. So here north of the border, let's look at the Canadian retailers. Let's look at one in particular, Canadian retailer, which is Canadian Tire. Canadian Tire opened in 1934, mostly to sell tires at that time, and then from there it grew. And they have certain brands specifically for themselves, which are Mastercraft and Super Cycle bikes. Canadian retailers come in many shapes and forms, but Canadian Tire is very specific to Canada because of its name, number one, and of course they only sell here in Canada. So it makes it one of Canada's largest retailers. And a little bit of trivia also on Canadian Tire. 90% of all Canadians live within a 15-minute drive of a Canadian Tire. If you don't believe me, just look around you and try to pinpoint where is your closest Canadian Tire. Also, 9 out of 10 adult Canadians shop at least twice a year in a Canadian Tire. Once or twice a year in a Canadian Tire. %40 of Canadians shop at Canadian Tire every week. So Canadian Tire is a very big, important retailer here in Canada. Maybe not as much here as we see in Quebec, but across Canada, especially the further west you go, Canadian Tire is a predominant retailer. There's almost 500 stores across Canada. They had come up with a certain promotion a long time ago. This dates back to almost 1958. They came up with Canadian Tire Money. So it's a byproduct of its loyalty program, and which started, after the war, and still existing today. You can still use Canadian Tire Money at par in Canadian Tire, and it's a bit less today than it used to be a few years ago. But a lot of retailers caught on to this, and they would actually accept Canadian Tire Money. Other retailers, stores, dépanneurs, stuff like that, they would say, yes, we accept Canadian Tire Money. And I'm quite sure there's still quite a few of them that still do now. But it's a little harder to do that now with what's going on in the world with applications. And you can have all your Canadian Tire Money right on an app in your phone. So there's a look at channels and a little bit of facilitators, distributors. Quick question for you. For your project, you can define what kind of distribution channel will you use. This question, I think, would be quite easy for most of you, but just to find out, to have a little bit of an idea, if you look at place, what kind of distribution channel will you be using? Great, so this is a short and sweet little video. We will do another one following this on promotion, so we'll see you then.